we will move on to talk about TV and film.
What about my holiday?
Oh, so that's so true.
Oh, God. You again.
Thank God, we're done.
For the record, I know if you people are listening thinking, Christ, I've just listened to an episode of Pulp Kitchen, and here they are talking about the Queen, and just like everyone else talking about it.
And if you're listening to this out of time, even a few weeks or even like months or years later, like what a moment in history we're experiencing.
Exactly.
One of the things I want to mention is obviously like it is in so many ways completely, it's not unprecedented, but there's no modern precedent for this. I know there are old precedents, but like they were written in, the last one we have was in the 50s, so like society's completely changed, structure of society's completely
that's why
changed.
it's interesting.
So everyone's like sort of trying to figure out what we do in this period. And it's interesting when I went to the cinema to go see how they run. This was a day or two after the Queen had died, and at the cinema they had, you know, usually when you buy popcorn, there's like screens with trailers.
Yeah.
No trailers.
Yeah.
Just a silhouette of the Queen and the date 19-something to 2022. And the guy was like, oh, by the way, the time the film starts on the, you know, usually you have 20 minutes of like ads and fluff. Like, no, it's going to be like 8 minutes after that because we've been told not to advertise. So you're going to get this film's going to start, you're going to get like a view, you know, John Boyega telling you to turn off your phone and then you're in.
See, that, regardless of how you feel about the monarchy, is an interesting historical thing.
I'll remember
that, you know, no trailers, just this thing. Like, at the moment I'm at work and, you know, I work in communications and we're like, okay, no social media this week.
Yes.
We're not putting out anything.
No comedy on TV.
It's really interesting, regardless of what you think. Anyway, look, we don't want to ram the monarchy.
It's all right. We're
not trying to say any particular view on the monarchy or the royal family or the Queen. Anyway, right.
But you know, sorry, just before we finish that, so I was in Austria when it happened, and my shoot got ended early. Not because of that, but because of a completely unrelated reason. But I was flying back the Friday, and tickets to fly back to London from Austria one way were £580.
That's ridiculous.
One way.
That's the flight, like a transatlantic flight would be that.
Easily.
Normally,
and you could get returned for that off season.
Yeah.
I literally just thought these airlines went, oh, everyone wants to come back to the UK to do whatever and just go about their business. Yeah, you can pay.
And will we get your luggage? We might.
Imagine if I was
we
going
might
to return
find
it.
it.
We might find it. Imagine if it was returned. It'd be like £1,000. Like, I just can't even. But anyway.
People are doing it, though.
What a moment that we're living in. We will move on to talk about TV and film.
What about my holiday?
Oh, so that's so true.
Oh, God. You again.
Thank God, we're done.
You give 10 minutes to the Queen. I'm going to wait for 2 weeks.
Sorry, mate.
How was you want to ask me how my holiday was?
Go on, how was America?
It was lovely, thank you. I'm back, listeners, from New York and Florida. I was there for 2 weeks. I had a great time. It was lovely. I was hoping you'd say I look tanned, look a little bronzed, but I guess in
Not really.
your in this sterile hospital light that you've got us lit in, I look just normal. Fantastic. What can I say about it? New York, great. I felt very good that I found a good bagel place that I went. Then once I found it, I went to it every day.
Oh, did you?
And it was called Best Bagel. So and you know what? It was really good.
Really good.
I knew it was good as well because when I was in the queue, not only was it very popular, you always want to go to a bagel place where there's like a line out the door.
New Yorkers know.
When I got in there, it was frequented by like plumbers, policemen, businessmen.
Yeah.
Like somebody walked in, this woman, incredibly glamorous, like head to toe in Tom Brown, and I'm like, if she's here and a policeman, so you've got like the cross section of New York society. They're all coming to this bagel place.
Yeah.
This is a good bagel. I'm in the right place. And the whole lineup system's completely like the Soup Nazi and Seinfeld. It's like, what do you want? The everything bagel with what? Pastrami and
not so for you.
And then you get it and you cut it in half, and it's the size of your face.
They really load their bagels in America.
Oh, it's a full meal. Not like the pathetic, equally expensive ones in London, which is like got a thin slither of smoked salmon in.
Did you do lots of walking and eating, which is a very New Yorkian thing to do?
At the same time?
Yeah, at the same time. It's like you get your pizza slice and you eat it while you walk.
I did go and get pizza slices. No, I don't like to eat and walk because I feel like it negates both activities. You're not walking properly because you're trying to hold a bit of food. And you're not really concentrating on the food. I feel like you don't register that food going in.
Nothing happens.
It was so hot in New York.
Oh, God. Like, it's muggy in New York as well,
it was like over 30 degrees.
And the subway, the platforms are roasting, but the trains are beautiful and
to
cold.
get the subway, like we actually walked a lot of it, which is great because New York, what I love is that it's just this raw, fiery chaos.
Best part of it is walking around.
Yeah, it's chaos, but it's then made rational and logical by the grid system.
Yes.
But obviously, sometimes you have to get the subway. And the subway's like, okay, you're going to make a deal with the devil now because you're willing to spend the first 10 minutes on the platform just in an oven, like a complete. I've never heat. You wouldn't believe heat like it.
It's ridiculous.
And then you get on that, and you don't care how the dirty the subway is. You're putting your face up against that metal pole, and the aircon is on, or the AC.
Whereas we don't have. I think we have a bit of air in our tubes in London, but they don't do much.
Well, the tube that you use, that's around these parts, the old rickety London tubes, no way.
Nothing,
but the tube I use down south of the river has air conditioning. Sorry, what was I going to say? And that's the thing. Your body is in such shock because like you're walking around completely hot, and then you go into any store, and they don't just have the AC on; they have it on like full blast. Your body's like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Anyway, New York was great. I have a good New York story.
Okay.
So we land. Also, really bad turbulence when we landed that no one else on the plane seemed to feel but me. Right. I felt so ill. Like,
really?
The girlfriend's trying to show me the skyline as we're coming down, and I'm like,
as you're coming down.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm just feeling. And literally, I was gripping the chair
Wow.
like that, and for some reason, the only phrase that I could think of to distract me was, "I am one with the force is one with me. I am one with the force is one with me." And eventually, we landed. It's the only time I've ever been in a plane, and we've landed that I felt the plane like,
oh
move
wow,
from side to side. Anyway, we land, very jet lagged. Get there, blah blah blah. Freshen up, walk out, and we think, okay, let's walk to the High Line and let's get our bearings. Let's go there. The High Line, lovely bit.
Yeah, it's very nice. Yeah,
converted subway track, L train track rather. Anyway, we walked past this diner called the Empire Diner on West 28th Street, I think.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is cool, like classic looking, like diner, bit done up, looks good. So we go in there, very quietly and jet lagged, dead-eyed stare, eat a burger, and welcome to New York, right?
Yeah.
I then go to use the loo or the restroom.
Because it's a room you rest in.
Yeah. And I come outside where we're sat, and right in front of me, dead right in front of me, guess who it is?
Who?
Jesse Eisenberg.
What?
Yeah, right there. And he's talking to the maitre d'. He looks at me because I've just come out.
I know he lives in New York.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. Yeah, and he's there with it might have been his son or his daughter or it's just like a relative.
As you come out the toilet,
so no, I come out. The toilet's inside. I come out the front entrance of the diner to where I'm sat outside.
Yeah.
And he's there, having just eaten in there.
Wow.
He's leaving. He's talking to like the waiter that's letting people in, and they're chatting really nicely. And he just sort of looks at me.
Is
as
he
I
talking
come
really
out.
fast? Is he like, okay?
Yeah, he's just like, oh yeah, we love it. And he's just being really friendly, and I'm like, what? I was like, am I dreaming?
It's really weird because like it's a famous person you're so used to seeing quite a lot, but in like heightened cinematic film.
Yeah.
And you're in New York, which is a different environment. It's very overly stimulating. Every street in New York is like a set you've watched, and then you just see like big star.
Yeah.
It must be really weird to see that.
And also I was like, oh yeah, I'm so used to watching Jesse Eisenberg in like films like The Social Network, but like he's like probably nearly 40 now or something.
Yeah,
like, and he's getting older.
You always played sort of angsty teen.
And I was like, oh wow, that's Jesse Eisenberg. And because I was jet lagged and I was tired and it was so hot.
Yeah.
I just couldn't. I was like, huh, that's the man from the movies. Anyway,
Mr. Eisenberg.
But I thought that's one for the pod.
Oh, nice. And then you just sort of was he aware that you spotted him?
No,
Or were you
no, and I didn't make a big thing out of it.
No.
I did exactly what you did. Like, oh, that's cool. I didn't want to be like,
Eisenberg.
oh, Mr. Eisenberg. He just had a nice meal with his relative or whatever, and he was about to walk off. No way, it was cool. He was very incognito, t-shirt, baseball cap,
and he's here today, Jesse.
Come on in. Anyway, that was cool, and then I flew to Florida, and that was really great. There was this one
very different place.
Exactly. So you got the freneticism of New York, and then you go to like, I know I'm talking like. I didn't go to like Miami. I went to, we were staying with my girlfriend's family in outer part of Orlando called Melbourne. And I was like, this is like, this is real like proper, I get to see like American life and not just the tourist traps, whatever. And we go to this beach bar, this like classic beach bar, and it was Labor Day weekend, right?
What the hell does that mean?
We turn up and it's just like boats everywhere. Everyone, I mean, all the guys are wearing either a Hawaiian shirt or a t-shirt and a baseball cap with the the sunglasses that have like the polarized colored lenses. Yes. You've got like a guy on stage playing Jimmy Buffett songs like I'm going down and there's someone on the barbecue, like really fun, active, like quintessential. Everyone's in a good mood. I will be honest, I do think that aside from we were the only people that, how should I say this? if I was to ask everyone in that bar who they voted for, I don't think I'd get the answer I wanted. But anyway,
was it the like Confederate flag tattoos that gave it away?
mean, there were a lot of tattoos. I don't know what else to say. But I was at the bar, and people want pina coladas. It's so tropical. It's like, this is great. This is Florida. And this, I get ID'd because I'm so young and dashing. And this woman next to me was like, and this is like a classic Floridian couple. So like they're probably in their late 60s. She's got big sunglasses on. They just sat in the bar, and she goes, "You Australian?" And I go, "Oh no, I'm from England." "All right, close enough." And I'm like, not really.
Not as far.
No.
With Americans, Americans are just going to be like, okay,
Yeah.
apologies to
And
our
then
American
I
listeners.
was
We
like
love you.
tucking my ID back in my wallet, and I was like, and she was like, "We just came back from there. Well, actually, we were flying through there. We went to Heathrow on the way to Venice, and then the husband was like, "Yeah, we were going to Venice. I just told him that." And they had this like echo, like Jerry Seinfeld's parents in Seinfeld. And they were like, so then she was like, "Oh yeah, we used." I said, "Have you ever been to England?" And loads. We used to have friends there. We met them on a cruise. Yeah, we met these friends on a cruise. I just told him that. Oh,
Have you seen the Harry Enfield sketch where it's
Yes,
like,
yes.
I was like, well, we're from Idaho, Idaho.
Yeah, but Diddley boy, hello there. Oh,
Hello there.
does anyone have the
That's
cell
very
tape?
great. Yeah. That's what you experience.
I just love that. I was like, I've had a good, nice, genuine conversation there. But
amazing.
also, I went to Disneyland for the first time in my life. Have you ever been?
I've been to Paris.
Right. Okay.
That's Disney World.
Yeah. So I went to Disney World.
Okay.
Which is the OG
Disneyland.
one, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which is where I was when I found out the Queen died.
Oh, right.
Right. Yeah. No. I mean, like, there is not more of a surreal place to find out that one of the quintessential moments in British history.
And then Goofy is like,
And I'm queuing for the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. It's like, it was so weird.
The poor man's Johnny Depp is like, all right, and I'll get you in the queue.
That was really weird. Yeah, finding out there. Disney World. And I think that brings me to the end of my tales about my holiday.
A fun fact about Disney World is that the buildings, which are made to look like castles and like multi-storied things, they create the illusion of scale by making the third and fourth stories of the buildings, which don't exist, they make them smaller, so that when you look at them, it appears like they're farther away in bigger buildings than they are, which I always thought was quite cool.
Yeah,
it like messes with your perspective to make you think that something's really big, but actually it's not.
All right. You didn't go on any of the rides, I take it, then, did you? You were told to wait. And
I think I went to Disneyland Paris like really young, too young to remember it well. So I don't really have that living memory of it.
There were so many kids there. I'm like, this expensive to come here.
Oh, yeah.
You are not going to remember this.
With most things you do with a child under 5 or 6, you can do stuff with them, but why? They won't remember, appreciate it.
Bastards.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I'm back, and that's the thing. Sorry, what you haven't asked me.
Sorry.
Is what did I watch on the plane? And
What did you watch on the plane?
Well, not much, because I realised when you're flying a place that's going to jet lag you a lot, you just try and get a lot of sleep. But I sat down and I watched 45 minutes of The House of Gucci.
Oh, okay.
Watched that. And after 45 minutes, I took off my headphones. I turned to my girlfriend and I said, "This is terrible. This is awful. It is so bad." And
So you watched the better 45 minutes if you watched the first one?
You're joking. It gets worse. It gets
more tiring and less interesting. Yeah.
Well, that's because I paused it and
I still had Jared Leto.
I still had a solid 2 hours to go. And it's bad when even on a plane, you're like, I've got to do something else.
Can you believe Jared Leto in that film? Just completely...
Yeah.
Why? It's exactly what it is. Please go listen to our House of Gucci review I did months ago. But
I was just like, this film has given no sort of indication of why it exists. Exactly. It just sort of just happens. Yeah. And you've got... a wasted Adam Driver, a wasted Al Pacino, Jeremy Irons completely miscast. Everyone is doing a little bit of Italian.
What you have to do to make an impact in this world,
All I will say is Lady Gaga, best thing in it. Yeah, but I just was just like, really I was like, why is this happening? Why are you showing me?
And
this?
like all like the crazy like scenes of like them falling in love in the beginning, and I know it kind of falls apart, but it's just so drawn out.
Yeah, it's
there's like little bits of it which are interesting towards the end, which you won't have seen when like Tom Ford gets involved with Gucci and he do you know about like the history of this?
Yeah, kind of. I remember when you reviewed it, Tom.
Yeah, he kind of like comes in and revolutionizes Gucci and like arguably fashion as we know it today, being this like sort of androgynous like puffy shirt style. He like popularized that with this new phase of Gucci. And there's this interesting moment when he comes in and takes creative control. But that was only interesting if you've like any sense of like acknowledgement of what happened in fashion at that time and how he turned it to the most like profitable company ever.
Do you know what? I remember thinking when I was watching it, it's been a long time since I've seen a film where the director is so impatient with his own stuff, because like every scene I felt like Ridley was just like, yep, get on with that.
Next bit.
I can't be bothered to give you any more time with this couple to make you emotionally connect to them, because I want to tell more of the story, and I can't be bothered to make you care. This character's going to turn up. Who is he? Doesn't matter. I'm just get right. I want to get.
Imagine me on set, be like, okay, that's done. We want to get doing that. No, let's just keep going.
I was like, hello, Ridley. Hello.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ridley Scott. Obviously amazing award-winning director, done some amazing films, but he's got a real sort of hit and miss.
Especially recently.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I much preferred The Last Duel, which had a much more interesting script, much more interesting story. This could have done with...
A challenging, like, interesting watch for good reasons. Like, it really made me think about a lot of things. Yeah. But we've given The Last Duel our praises quite a few times.
Anyway, so I'm back.
Yeah,
and that's all I watched. And here I am.
So, George, while we were away, D23 happened, which is the big expo where the overlords that own all the IP in the world basically go through and they announce in a sort of like expo showcase all the things that are going to be coming out in the next year or two. They have a bunch of stars come on, directors, they show trailers. If you're there, you see a bunch of like sneak peek footage of the new films. And I thought we would just run through a load of these. Yeah, you got it. Oh,
so when James said fly, he said there is a fly.
There's a fly in the room. And I thought I'd just run through them and we could just sort of like mini react to them. Some of these are just announcements that we don't really know anything about yet, so they mean very little. Some of these are things we mentioned in our Marvel Star Wars. So I'm trying to get this right in our Marvel Star Wars thing, which we can sort of confirm. But I thought we could just go through and react. I'm not going to do everything because there's a lot.
And when you say D2, when you said the Overlords, is it Disney?
Disney.
Right. It's all Disney.
This is all Disney, which includes Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars, 20th Century Fox.
Yes,
I think.
It's now called 20th Century Studios because Disney bought Fox, right?
There you go. So I just thought we'd run through.
Okay.
You can tell me like yes, no, indifferent.
A bit like when we did the Marvel ones, like however we like this, they're going to be dominating the pop culture landscape for the next 5 years.
They just own entertainment. And it's quite daunting to be like, wow, they own entertainment and like the hours of our day. But we're going to start with Disney and Pixar.
Okay.
Which was they separated it, Disney, Pixar, Marvel, Star Wars. The first thing that I'm going to mention is Inside Out 2 is announced.
Oh, okay. They're doing a second one.
Yeah, they're doing a second one. And Amy Poehler appeared on stage to help announce it. And the movie will once again take place in Riley's head, who is the human character who had that all the stuff, with various emotions returning from the sequel. And I think at the end of Inside Out 1, she like started puberty, and there were like some new emotions that came in. I think from my memory,
it was that big red button that said puberty.
I was like, oh, what's that button? We'll worry about that later, which is very clever. You an Inside Out fan?
I've only seen it once at the cinema. I liked it. I do remember it being really wacky. I remember there was a point I was like, there are almost too many concepts in this film. I liked the idea of the emotions in the head. I was great with that. But when they started to say there were like personality islands within the landscape that they had to journey to, and then they brought back the imaginary friend. Great, Bing Bong, best part of it. Great. The most emotional journey of that, right? But I was like, oh, okay. There's a lot of like world building they're having to justify to make me really connect to this. It felt like
it's a lot.
You know, it's like watching Tenet or something. It's like, whoa, just easy on the lore.
Inside Out for me is the start of Pixar's psychedelic trilogy of Inside Out, Coco, and Soul.
Yes.
Where like they got very deep and insular on the subconscious and our nature with all of them dealt with this like sub-level of consciousness that you could explore like between realms. It was very lick the toad, ayahuasca. And I'm like, I'm all got it. I got the fly. Yeah. And like I'm all for it, but I'm also like, can we just rein it in a bit?
One Disney exec went on like holiday, the summer vacation, came back with a couple of braids and was just like, guys, I got a great idea.
We're gonna
it's energy man. Or like they let Matthew McConaughey in for like an hour and he just gave them ideas. I think the best parts of Inside Out are in Coco and the worst parts of Inside Out are in Soul. And what I mean by that is, so the best parts of Inside Out is when it gets emotional and it like really connects to the idea of like family and growing up. That's in Coco. And in better capacity. And I think Coco is a better film actually.
Oh, Inside Out,
right? And when I say the worst parts of Inside Out, that sort of over over concept, over contrived world building that I said about Inside Out.
Yeah.
That was my issue with Soul, because Soul begins and you're like, oh, this is a lovely film about this jazz pianist and he's, going to have another break at his career. And I was like, I'm going with this. And then he falls down a manhole and he goes into a pre-existent dimension. And I'm like,
really enjoying
what?
the story.
Yeah,
of
I was
the
like,
jazz
could you not have
pianist?
just stayed with that? They're like, no, this is all about. And honestly, from then on, my interest in Soul just diminished and diminished.
Same.
And by the end of it, I was like, this isn't interesting anymore. You've just over created a concept here which I can't connect to.
I found Inside Out similar. I was having so much fun with Inside Out when it starts in the beginning. You're introduced this new way of conceptualizing how emotions work, and so they're having so much fun with it, and the audience is having fun with it. And then when whatever happens and she's no longer able to use Joy, and Joy's no longer piloting, I was kind of just like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't really find that as fun as just like navigating life and doing the film. But that's coming.
Yeah, sorry. I think also. Sorry, we won't talk about this.
Yeah,
all the things. The one thing that was good about Inside Out that has stayed the course, which is the whole message, which is it's okay to be sad sometimes.
Yeah.
And there have been times since I've watched Inside Out, I've just been like, I'm a bit down, but you know what? It's okay to be sad.
Good old cry is just exactly what you need. Then I'm just going to skip through Elemental. And okay, so first footage of the Little Mermaid live action remake.
Right.
As we know, Disney for a long time has been remaking all their films very safely, I'd say.
Yeah.
In live action, we had Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast,
Dumbo, Lion King, Aladdin.
Yes, Aladdin's was a weird.
Came and went.
So that got a trailer, and it's almost like in the same way Lion King was almost shot for shot. Original Lion King. This teaser, I think, is very similar to the original cartoon teaser that came out whenever The Little Mermaid came out,
I've never seen The Little Mermaid.
I've seen The Little Mermaid, but when I was meant to see it, so as a kid, and I've not really ventured to rewatch it. But just to say, we have got
that's been in production hell for years. Though at one point, 5-6 years ago, Sofia Coppola was directing it.
Right, okay.
And then she left it, and it's like it's been just gestating for a while. And to the point now, I'm like, okay, I know I haven't seen the original, but I'm like, whatever.
Yeah. I would be more excited to this in a vacuum where those other live action, very safe remakes have come out. Because those
and also safe remakes of variable quality. Jungle Book, yay. All the rest, meh.
Yeah. So we've got Little Mermaid stars Jacob Tremblay as Flounder, Awkwafina as Scuttle, Melissa McCarthy as the evil Ursula, which I think is very well cast. Javier Bardem as King Triton.
Whatever.
Great, and more. This I thought was a weird one. Mufasa, The Lion King, got a trailer, which we can't watch because it was shown there, but it is Barry Jenkins directing a prequel about Mufasa.
What?
Prequel to the beloved animated film The Lion King.
What?
It is the origin of Mufasa, one of the greatest kings of the Pride Lands. I can only name 2. Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. It will tell, I guess 3 technically, if you want to get... it will tell the story of how orphan Mufasa, he was an orphan, rose to royalty. The first footage shown in the movie showed the iconic Pride Rock paired with recognizable music from the original. We then see baby Mufasa getting washed away in a flood. This movie will use the same animation style from the 2019 Lion King remake, so the Jon Favreau version. This is going to be released in 2024.
So that sounds like we're going to serve you the same shit. We're going to give a different name, but it sounds like the same story. Do you know what makes me really sad about that, though? Barry Jenkins, man. Barry Jenkins is an artist.
I know.
Moonlight and If Beale Street Could Talk are wonderful films. And I didn't see The Underground Railroad, but I know he made that. And look, and obviously... he, as a talented director, he is free to paint with whatever colours he wants and try out every different genre. And maybe after making The Underground Railroad, which was very grueling, he thought, I want to try something different. I've never made a big budget. Good for him and great. But, really? Is that what it's come to?
It's what it's come to.
Because Moonlight obviously got lots of name recognition, but If Beale Street Could Talk was because it came shortly afterwards, it was just kind of overlooked. And... is this what it comes to? In order to keep your star from fading, you have to...
I'm surprised there isn't the
Disney.
Rafiki animated series that's going to be paired with this.
Timon and Pumbaa.
There is Timon and Pumbaa. And that did happen, didn't it? Well, Lion King 3 was a Timon and Pumbaa thing.
There's a Lion King 3?
There's a Lion King. Have you seen Lion King 2?
No.
Lion King 2 is good. Yeah, Don't sleep on Lion King 2.
No, that's not...
Of all the Disney sequels, Lion King 2 is good.
That's not an official sequel, though. That's like the straight-to-video sequel.
It got a cinematic release.
Rubbish.
I'm going to bet Lion King 2 right now.
They made Mulan 2
get a cinematic release. No, it was direct to video. Thank
you very much.
But it was good. Okay, sure. All right. Yeah, there's no one now who they don't just flick through they have a wheel with every character and go zing.
Yeah.
Yes, we will do that person's entire story. Yeah. Cassian Andor, yep, series.
That I don't understand.
We'll get to it.
Sorry. But with the Mufasa thing, okay, if you're going to do it, I like Barry Jenkins. I'm hoping he can make something interesting out of it. You know, no pun intended, but like I hope it's not toothless. I'm like, if you're going to make a film about a lion, like in the jungle, let's have a bit of teeth. Let's see some lions fighting. Let's see it's the wild. Let's get some grit underneath your fingernails.
Let's have a really cool story. Like a really Mufasa's like.
I wouldn't count them.
I've never thought about Mufasa. But he's a badass,
I've never
right?
craved this.
He's a badass.
He
like fucks up those hyenas because it's like his job.
Yeah.
Like, and he's a badass, and he should hopefully.
Where's the threat in this?
What's the stakes?
Move on.
Back to our live action, very safe remakes. We've got Snow White coming in 2024. Mark Webb.
Snow White. So I'm just thinking, like Snow White and the Huntsman.
No.
But do you remember that Snow White Huntsman and the Huntsman Winter's War
with Chris Hemsworth?
Yeah. So they made a sequel to they made Snow White and the Huntsman.
Charlize Theron.
Remember, that was 2012 was the year that the two Snow White films came out at the same time.
What was the other one?
Mirror with Julia Roberts, which was like a kind of camp, funny.
Oh, yeah.
And then you had Snow White the Huntsman, which was Snow White, but it was gritty.
Gritty.
And I was like, really? That was like the nadir of taking a beloved property and making it. You know, before, nowadays, they take something and they make it really kooky and funny.
Yeah.
And they fill it full of quips. That was at the end of the era when it was like
Dark Knight.
Make it gritty and terrible. And I was like, we've reached the point where we're making Snow White
Man of Steel.
like Man of Steel. Like, come on. And then they made a sequel. This is a disaster written all over it. They made a belated sequel, never a good idea, to that film without Snow White in it, called The Huntsman: Winter's War.
Yeah,
with Emily Blunt.
I've completely forgotten.
Exactly. Why would you remember that? And yeah, I think it was it completely bombed. Sorry. So then you're going to make another now back to safe hands live action Snow White, directed by
Mark Webb,
right? 500 Days of Summer.
Yes,
and Amazing Spider-Man's 1 and 2.
Yes, with the composer from the 2019 Aladdin remake on board from the score. Rachel Ziegler, who is playing Snow White. Which one's Rachel Ziegler again?
Rachel Ziegler. Because wait, which one's the one who was the lead in West Side Story, and which is the one that works with Sia?
No, so you're thinking of another Ziegler. This is Maddie Ziegler. This is the West Side Story one.
Right, oh great, Rachel Ziegler, love her.
Fantastic. But yeah, also, and Gal Gadot. Yeah, also cool, but again, I'm expecting something very safe. It'll happen.
So Gal Gadot playing the evil witch.
Yeah,
playing Maleficent. So they're not going to get...
not Maleficent. Maleficent, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Then we've got another, what I assume will be a very safe live action remake, Peter Pan and Wendy. Peter Pan and Wendy, streaming in 2023.
All of the...
So you know what I mean?
Is that a series?
Movie coming to Disney Plus. So this is interesting. Are we just... Wait, were the other ones going straight to thing? No, none of the other ones have said streaming in 2023. Just quickly, this one is got Jude Law in it.
Love him.
I assume playing Captain Hook. But yeah, other people have.
But what I like a bit when I was talking about Snow White, these new remakes are built on the dead bodies, the rotten carcasses of failed reboots of these existing IPs, right? Do you remember Pan from 2015?
Yeah, with Jason Isaacs.
No. That's Peter Pan from 2003. I'm talking about Pan.
No, I do not know Pan. With Hugh
Jackman. Yeah. Welcome to Neverland.
No.
Do you remember that?
Peter Pan is one that gets rebooted every 6 to 8 years,
and
doesn't it?
Pan was absolutely panned. It was absolutely pants. Like, and so... Again, from that,
they always talked about Predators, the Predator, Prey. They had to go like Peter Pan. Wendy. There's a guy with like a black card on a whiteboard, just going, just moving it every 8 years, like panning it. Go,
ridiculous. Sure,
yeah. Disenchanted, which is the sequel to Enchanted.
Never seen Enchanted, but I heard it's lovely.
I think it's a bit overrated.
Okay.
But yeah, starring Amy Adams and Patrick Dempsey, Idina Menzel. But I remember people going mental about it. I was like, this is fine.
Okay.
Fun concept, but I don't think it's sustained. Do you know what? I've not seen it in so long. What does that even matter? And then the one I am most excited about, Hocus Pocus 2 trailer revealed. I loved Hocus Pocus.
Never seen
1.
it.
Oh, you've missed out.
I didn't scare a lot of kids when they were younger.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary. It's not scary now. Bette Midler returning, Sarah Jessica Parker returning, and Kathy Najimy returning.
Wasn't there a third person who was originally in it? Was it Kathy?
I just said 3 people. That's a really fun film. And you know, I was one of those films where I used to watch as a kid, and the main character in that film is like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And I remember watching this kid thinking like, that was an adult. That was like the coolest guy ever. And he was like my vision of what like a teenage boy would be. And still in my head, I picture him as like old. And then I actually watched it, I want to say 2 years ago, like maybe during lockdown, I rewatched Hocus Pocus because it was on TV. And I was like, oh my God, this is a boy. But I used to like, this is a child that I really thought, the actor's probably 18 when he played the role.
Hocus Pocus, I lump in with Hocus Pocus, The Never-Ending Story, and Labyrinth are like 3 films of that era that I didn't see, which I think probably bigger in America. Have you seen any of the others?
No, I don't think so. Labyrinth, have I seen
You know, the one with David Bowie and the Goblin King.
No.
And it's just Jennifer Connelly gets kidnapped. It's like really, really strange, but it's like a cult film. And then The Never-Ending Story, I've not seen. I love the song, which I discovered before Stranger Things. Not that matters, but
you like to let the people know.
I let the people know, even though obviously like it existed for 30 years before I even came to it. But I discovered it at uni, like in the depths of night when I'm trying to do an essay, and I was like, what's this song? Turn around. Anyway, moving on.
That is all I will talk about for Disney and Pixar.
Okay.
Right.
So but because Disney owns so much, there's more stuff to talk about.
We're going to move on to Marvel, Star Wars, and 20th Century Studios.
Can we do 20th Century Studios first?
I'm going to do it in the order that this article has it. So I'm not going to
Let's scratch that again. Do Marvel.
So, first off, we're starting with some Star Wars. We've got Andor, a new trailer which was released. We'd already seen a trailer, but they released a final trailer. This 90-second teaser gives, I'm quoting from techradar.com, gives a stunning glimpse into arguably the most mature Star Wars TV show yet, but plenty of action, tense drama, and complex relationships on show in the footage. So, just before you go, this is like a 12-episode film. Diego Luna acting and producing. I think that's the quote. It's like a gigantic film. Okay. This is like the Obi-Wan Kenobi marketing. But it's some of the same creators as Rogue One.
Because this is a prequel to the prequel.
Prequel to the prequel.
So Cassian Andor was Diego Luna's character in Rogue One. This is a prequel to that about his...
Spoilers to Rogue One. Dies at the end of Rogue One like all the characters do. Which is kind of cool.
Yeah, I still like Rogue One. And then... So he's now, this is a series about basically, I guess, like life in the rebellion.
Yeah, I think it's going to be him like being a nomad and then joining. You've got Stellan Skarsgård in there and a bunch of other pretty good actors.
I just, when I've heard about this entire project, first of all, when you say Andor, I'm like, Andor what? It's like, we've got this series, Andor, maybe this other thing. I really think it's a stretch to be like, there's this character that was seen once in a film 6 years ago who dies at the end. The audience doesn't have a strong attack in a film that was an ensemble film.
So there's going to be less sense of risk when we're watching this.
Exactly. So what
isn't it amazing how much we're saying the same thing about all of these announcements? It's like, okay, but why?
And where's the risk? Where's the imagination?
All this prequel stuff. Do you know what? Like, even I still do kind of root for Star Wars things. Like, I do like deep down like want it to be good. I think I watched Obi-Wan Kenobi like really kind of like wanting to like it and wanting to see something deeper. And like I'm probably gonna watch like an episode or two and then decide if I'm gonna like tune in weekly. Yeah.
You're gonna watch an episode or two to review
on the show. And then if people really like it, I'll finish it basically, which is true for most things. Any more thoughts on that, or are you just gonna wait and see?
Well, do you know what I'm a sucker for is when the nights draw in here and the temperature gets colder. There's something about Star Wars that's very like warming yourself by the hearth of the fire.
That's what I'm finding about Rings of Power right now, which I'll get into.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can.
So maybe I'll probably be suckered in by Andor and watch that. Okay.
Next up, but I've got no idea what to make of this because I've no touchstone for the original. But Willow.
Yeah, with Warwick Davis. Willow, you lump that in with the category of Labyrinth and Hocus Pocus and all those other ones.
Just like films that were sort of, it was like a child fantasy story from the 80s.
Yes, yep.
That has been 1988. Sorry, Lucasfilm, and it's got a new trailer. It's been rebooted, and it looks kind of like true to what Willow was. Yeah. I've never seen Willow, but I've seen like clips of it.
Fantasy.
I've no take.
Let us know if you've seen Willow.
Next one, which I think could be quite cool, just because I have this fantasy of myself wanting to watch more Star Wars cartoons as if I have the time. But I'm waiting until I get really sick to binge them. But we've got Tales of the Jedi.
Why would you wish that? Why would you hope for that?
Because I can't imagine where I'd be like,
I see.
If I can't do anything, I will watch Star Wars cartoons. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
it's like,
yeah.
So we've got Tales of the Jedi, and this is a 6-part short story series. Tales of the Jedi sees Star Wars return to its Clone Wars style of animation, and it looks like we're going to see backstories of Ahsoka Tano, even though we kind of got that, and Count Dooku, if you cared, and Dave Filoni, who is like a Star Wars veteran, who now works on The Mandalorian, but did Clone Wars and Bad Batch and Star Wars Rebels, is helming this.
Well, the whole Star Wars animation canon is something I've only come to realize in recent times.
We tried to talk about Kenobi, Jesus Christ.
I did not realize how beloved and respected and like loved that wing of Star Wars content is. And I didn't realize how much it is filtered into and it affects people's perception of the whole canon. Because I still believe this, that you should just be able to watch the films and understand it based on the 9, maybe 11 if you count the spin-offs, films that exist out there. But people were out there saying, no, to understand Star Wars fully, you have to watch the animation as well, which I just thought was like a side quest.
When I've dipped into them in the early season, it's very kiddie.
Yeah.
And so I kind of was like, oh, this is like non-essential viewing. It's very like Disney XD Saturday morning cartoon. Nothing wrong with it. But I've had so many people say, oh, like in the later series, they do some really cool bits of storytelling, which really like, they like give Darth Maul like a really good run and they tell you all about him and like all this stuff with Darth Sidious, which is apparently amazing. But there's apparently, between those episodes, there's a lot of faff and a lot of shit. So I need someone to send me like an episode guide for like, here's the Clone Wars episodes you watch.
Do you remember, I still hate it when people talk about Darth Maul like he comes back. No.
I
said that before. He completely died. When people go, yeah, but no, he had to survive in the episode 1 because he had to come back in the animations and the Clone Wars. I'm like, no, they brought him back because they realized he was a merchandising opportunity, that they realized they killed it.
You made this very excellent point about people dying and Darth Maul being sliced in half, and I clipped it, put it on TikTok, and while you were talking, I put a clip of Darth Maul being sliced in half, just in case people didn't remember.
Anyway.
Quickly, The Bad Batch Season 2, which is a similar animated style show, is also coming. Then there is Skeleton Crew, which is like a ragtag bunch of Star Wars people with which Jude Law is in.
Okay, cool. That's a series, right?
That's going to be a series.
Okay.
Then we saw a trailer, I don't know if you've seen it, for The Mandalorian Season 3.
Right. Now, I have a thing about this, Mandalorian Season 3. I didn't watch the Book of Boba Fett because I didn't want to. Because I looked at it and it didn't look very good. And lots of people said to me it wasn't very good. And if you look online...
That's what people had asked for years.
Yeah.
Boba Fett.
And it got very mixed reviews all around. So I don't think I want to watch it.
Yeah.
But when I watched the trailer for The Mandalorian Season 3, I was like, I've missed something here.
Really?
Excuse me. Because spoilers for Mandalorian, but the end of Mandalorian Season 2...
Amazing.
Fantastic.
Some of the best Star Wars.
Love it. Fantastic. Mando and... Grogu, they part ways. It is the end, a brilliant end to this arc.
Yeah.
I watched the trailer for Mando Season 3. They're back together. It's all fine. And unbeknownst to me, there were like basically Mandalorian episodes hidden in Boba Fett series.
Watch it now.
And I'm like, do not do that just to make me go and watch this other unloved series. Because
you got to watch all our stuff,
It's one thing for me to know because we're plugged in, we're like savvy with this kind of stuff. But my mum loves The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah.
So she's going to go, I can't wait for Season 3. She's going to sit down and watch it. She's going to be like, whoa, I don't understand what's going on here.
This is my point.
Deceptive.
This is my point about when I talked about She-Hulk, is that this is how they kind of like bully you. They're like, if you want to be able to enjoy this, you have to watch potentially like 6 out of 8 episodes that are bad. Just in case we mention this one thing in a post-credit scene and you missed it and you'll be left out and you won't know what's going on. And you just feel like you have to consume all of this. Yeah. And I felt the same with The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Julia Louis-Dreyfus is like this mysterious character who pops up like 3 times in that series, and she's going to be in like Kang and in Secret Wars. But like, if she had just turned up later, I would have no idea who she is. But I hate that I have to watch that entire series to see that like this little thing is in. It's really hard. I don't have time.
Yes, I agree. Because I agree because I saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus turn up at the end of Black Widow, and I was like, oh, who's that now?
Yeah.
And I had to Google. Oh, apparently she was in this other content. Stop doing it, Disney. So anyway, that's my issue with that.
I'm going to calm down. Next up, we got Indiana Jones 5.
Yes.
And there was a trailer that debuted during the showcase. We haven't seen it, but if you were there, you saw it.
And Harrison Ford, didn't he?
Harrison Ford was there, and he had like a very teary-eyed thing. He said, I promise you, like, this one is good. And the reason it's good, he was on stage with him, and he pointed at Phoebe Waller-Bridge, who is, I want to say co-writing, because she co-writes a lot of this stuff, but she also stars as his, like, swashbuckling sidekick.
Okay, cool.
Harrison Ford, it's directed by James Mangold, and then they saw a teaser.
James Mangold is a solid pair of hands.
Yes, I agree.
Fine. He's made some great good. Logan, great.
Logan's very cool.
I have not seen Walk the Line. But he's been directed for like 20, 30 years. But he also did things like Ford and Ferrari. Yeah.
But Harrison Ford says it's good. Does that mean anything if he stands up on stage and says it's good?
The guy who's paid to be in the movie, who's the main star of the product
but
that he's selling.
He's also quite honest.
He is quite honest. And to see him genuinely moved,
yes,
that's something, because he's such a cool guy. He's the definition of cool. The only thing is that, if you told us like 20 years ago that, Harrison Ford's still going to be in Indiana Jones in his like 80s, or he's like late 70s, I think, right? You'd be like, you're kidding me, like Indiana Jones is like a granddad, like still rolling around. How he just about kind of got away with it with Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
How's he going to look to see? I don't. What's that going to look like? Is Phoebe
Waller-Bridge going to punch?
Yeah.
I'm curious to see whether or not they're just going to really hide it with stunt work. They'll like actually play him in his 60s. Or if they're like really leaning into the fact that he's old, because it was part of the joke in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was that he was too old for this stuff now.
Maybe the thrills will be elsewhere. Look, I love Indiana Jones. I like Jones. Harrison Ford. I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge brings an interesting
better than Shia LaBeouf.
as a psychic. I think
I'm kidding.
I think Phoebe Waller-Bridge is always an interesting addition.
Yeah.
Do you think they'll kill him?
Yeah, they'll do a Daniel Craig. Spoilers for No Time to Die.
Yeah,
they'll do a Daniel Craig.
Yeah,
also
No Time to Die.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not much to say on this because we discussed it. Black Panther, Wakanda
Black Panda?
Forever.
That's a whole different... It's just all black. No white bits on the panda.
Black Panther,
That's just
Wakanda.
a bear, James.
It's just Kung Fu Panda. But, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, exclusive footage shown. We talked about the trailer. It looks very cool. Thought it was a good trailer that we saw. And then we got a teaser for Ironheart, but we can't discuss it because we haven't seen it, but that's just going to be part of the whole...
It's just shown to hype up the audience there, right?
I agree. Then we've got Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania, new details and a trailer teased. Again, we can't comment on this because we haven't seen it and it's hidden footage, but speaking during the event, lead star Paul Rudd said, "This is unlike anything you've seen, certainly from Ant-Man and the Wasp. This thing is bananas, blah, blah, blah."
Yeah, blah, blah, blah.
Apparently, what I think they have said is that this is going to be like, Kang is going to be in this. I felt like the Ant-Man stories have been mixed, some good, some not, but they've always felt like very, like a peripheral story to the main plot.
And sort of domestic scale kind
of
like... great, okay, cool. Sort of. Moving on.
This one, just because I've run out of time, I've not really looked into it, but there's Werewolf by Night.
Right, yeah, so I looked into this as well.
Okay.
So this is a horror special that's coming out, I believe, later this year, is it?
October 7th.
And it's...
That's really soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's coming out for Halloween, right? So it's all in black and white. It doesn't seem to have any noticeable, recognizable... characters in it from the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Ant-Man will turn up and you'll feel like really bad
stupid for saying that.
Yeah.
But it's set in this like haunted mansion, I guess. It's got Gael Garcia Bernal in it, great actor.
Yeah.
And it's cut like a complete horror film, and you've got
old school film,
yeah, like a Hammer horror film, or even
Yes.
older than that, like the Frankenstein era, 1930s.
And you can see like the film reels and the dust and the light
and like
burns.
it looks like there's genuinely going to be a bit of threat and gore in it, which is really interesting. It seems to have come out of nowhere, but the interesting thing about it is that it's directed
Michael Giacchino,
who is a legendary composer. Of course, we know him as I know most favorably as the guy who wrote the score for Up. And he was... And
just quickly, he most recently did Thor, Love and Thunder, The Batman, Up, The Incredibles, Spider-Man, No Way Home, Ratatouille, Rogue One, Doctor Strange, Incredibles 2, Force Awakens, Jurassic... Force Awakens. Yeah, loads of films.
He Up, that... That's how I know the name Michael Giacchino, because I listened to that on my iPod. Anyway, so that's kind of interesting. He's turned director. I like Gael Garcia Bernal. My only thing is this. If you're going to be horror, if you're going to do horror, Marvel, and you're going to say you're going to do it, don't be an empty promise, because Marvel's very good at being empty promises. If you're going to be horror, I want blood. I want it to be genuinely, like I said earlier with the Lion King prequel.
Do it. Scare me.
Scare me. Have some teeth. Have some guts. Don't be like, it's a horror thing, but then pull your punches at the end.
Yeah.
It looks interesting. So
WandaVision is the only show for me that was like, they really went with something and it worked. Even if at the end it did kind of Marvel itself.
Concept heavy, yeah.
But I was like, this is like, we're using the Marvel toys, but we're doing something like really unique, which is what you want to do with TV. Interesting. I'll be curious to check it out. There's so much stuff. Next up, Secret Invasion, and we saw a first teaser for that, which is the Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson show.
Right.
You've got, I was about to say Robin Scherbatsky. You've got Kobe Smulders.
Who's Robin Scherbatsky?
It's the character she plays in
How I Met Your Mother.
In that, and it's got Ben Mendelsohn as the Skrull. That's the TV show. That'll be happening. Is it a TV show or is it a film? Which is a
TV show, I think.
I think it's a TV show. Yes. That's the one out. Loki season 2 is coming back. Apparently they showed some footage of Loki like glitching in and out of different worlds. It sounds like more Loki. And then they said that the Fantastic Four movie, which is the new one, is confirmed its director, which is going to be Matt Shakman.
Yes. Who it was originally meant to be John Watts of Spider-Man fame.
Yes.
Now it's Matt Shakman, who I did look this up.
What has he done?
What has he done? Don't tell me. He's scheduled to also do the new Star Trek, the Star Trek 4, the much belated Star Trek 4.
Chris Pine, Star Trek 4.
But he's also done he directed WandaVision, right?
Oh, okay, great.
So he's that's when you were just saying then about like WandaVision was one of the most interesting like Marvel TV shows.
Yes.
I'm hoping he brings some of that to Fantastic Four.
I agree. Then we've got.
Do you think they're going to keep John Krasinski? Or do you think they can change
no
it?
idea. I think it could. It really could be either or.
Well, I've got no idea.
I'd be very happy if they were just like, that's a fun little fan thing that you asked for and now it's done. I wouldn't be surprised if they go younger. Not that I think John Krasinski's old. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they again go for like a young group of kids. Yeah.
No, because
they did do that with Van Falstick, but
less said about that. The better.
There's a bunch of other films that have been released, but we just can't go through them all, and we haven't seen it, so there's only so much we can say. But I thought this one was interesting, which is the Thunderbolts full cast revealed, because we talked about Thunderbolts originally when we went through the announcements, but we didn't know much about it, and you were like, "Who is that?"
Because it's the end of Phase 5 or something, isn't it?
Could be. Sounds about right. And so this is the full lineup of who you're getting in this. Your real like B tier, or even C. This is like what I call like C tier of your Marvel characters. So you've got the biggest one in this, which is the Winter Soldier. Sebastian Stan. You've got Yelena Beklova, played by Florence Pugh, who is in Hawkeye. You've got Red Guardian, David Harbour, right? Ghost, Hannah John Carmen, who I don't know who that is at this stage. Taskmaster, which is Olga Kurylenko. So like the most boring villain
3
reveal.
Black Widow.
And then US agent Russell Wyatt, who is in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So the 6-strong team will be led by La Contessa Valentina Allegra de la Fontaine, Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And this is a thing. That's just confirmed what that is, and this is a film.
Really using the leftover turkey to make some stock, right?
It's like we've got everyone booked. Who's not working now?
Yeah,
okay, you're all in a film together.
Wow, I'm so interested in that film.
And then new footage for the Marvels. Yeah, I just have nothing to say. We're being so cynical, but like there's so much.
It's just more of the same in a different packaging.
There you go. That is D23.
So it's a lot of the stuff that was announced at Comic-Con rehashed.
A lot of live action, what looks like very safe remakes.
There's not. What's the most interesting project out of all we've mentioned there? Passingly, maybe the werewolf thing. Maybe.
I think that the werewolf. I know what you mean. It's very.
I know they're Disney. They hold a lot of existing IPs. They're going to establish existing IP. But like, what?
This is something like
Pixar was the only thing there to do something new, wasn't it? With the guy in
they had a bunch
Alien
of
Galaxy,
and they had a couple of other things which were new. This is like a similar feeling that you and I felt when we went through Marvel, where it's like, okay, but we're not excited. We now know the next 2-3 years of content. I'm not like buzzing.
No,
I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm actually exhausted by how much I might have to watch, even outside of doing this.
It just exists there. It's just all this stuff just exists for. Anyway, let us know if you are excited about any of the projects. that we've
what
mentioned.
stands out to you?
What do you think you'll be queuing up or sitting down to watch on streaming over the next few years out of that whole announcement? I also think we've reached this sort of cynical age where what was once probably like a shareholders meeting has turned into a very external-facing public expo, right? So it was probably once like a shareholders meeting where they're like, we're going to be doing this in Q4 of next year. And now they're like, let's make this into a marketing thing.
Publish it,
let's invite people in. Let's publicize it. It's D23, everyone.
Don't undo your subscription. No, keep paying. There's lots of good stuff coming. That's why it's very important. If you don't know what's coming in 2 months and you're like, why am I going to keep paying?
Yes, you're right, of course.
So therefore you go, I've got 3 years of all this content, all this value for my $7.99 a month.
We've talked about this before, but in the next, I think, 5 years might be too much. I'm going to say 2-3 years. I think one of the big streamers is going to fall.
Yes.
Right.
It won't work.
It's too crowded.
It's too much.
And people are, one of the first things to happen when the cost of living crisis hit is people, and it is currently happening, people cancelling their subscriptions, right? Across the board. And also, that's not limited to film and TV, Spotify and all that. So it's like you've got Netflix, Amazon, Apple, Paramount Plus now.
Yeah.
And Disney. Right?
And there are only so many hours in the day.
Right, exactly.
You cannot watch it all.
So you look at that. I think most people will keep Amazon because they like to get Prime as well, right? They're thinking they're getting a good deal. So that's Amazon out. That leaves you with Apple, Netflix, Paramount, and Disney. I think Disney will be fine because they've got the tentpole content and their IP. I think they've got enough IP and enough old movies and enough things to keep people. And people might think, well, Disney, I've got enough for my kids that they'll want to watch, enough for me to watch. So that leaves you with Paramount Plus, Apple, and Netflix. Netflix, as you know, is struggling and it's kind of watered down its brand. People don't really know what it's giving them anymore. Yeah. I think Paramount is at a dangerous point because it's late. It's really late to the party. The only thing that might save that is people go, they've got so much backlog of content, but I don't know how much that's much of a selling point. And I think Apple, a bit like the Amazon thing, it might just get saved because it's got that sort of association with a much wider conglomerate.
And there's also something where none of these services are profitable. No. Not even close. And it's also about like who's got the biggest war chest. Like Apple's the second richest, not just company, but like entity in our economy. Right. Amazon also has got. They can just. There's something to be said about business which can just burn money for a long time and worry about it being profitable in 10 years. Does Netflix? Like Netflix is a media entertainment company, but it pitches itself like a tech company, like the way in which it talks about its earnings. And that creates this very like different value perception of companies because we value tech companies really highly instead of like, if you looked at Netflix as a media company, it wouldn't have anywhere near the same valuation. So it's trying to like really almost like shove its way to the top. But Netflix was first. Netflix, I think has I think when people go, what do you watch tonight? I think for a lot of people, the first thing they look at is Netflix. I agree. Because it's like the brand recognition of I'm going to just Netflix and chill.
It is also the word that is synonymous with streaming. We've talked about it before. In the same way that like to Hoover is a brand name of actually vacuuming, 100%, right? It's like, I agree. I still stand by though. I still think, and not to be a naysayer or ring the doom bell, but I think in the next maximum 5 years, but let's say 2 to 3, one of these streamings is going to...
Some shareholders will be like, okay, now we want our money.
I mean, look, do you remember like 5 years ago when everyone was basically doing a streaming platform and loads came and went, like Yahoo did their own streaming platform and then like it was like Quibi or whatever.
Yeah.
But these are like the big 5.
I look at all of this and I'm like, I can't watch it all.
Yeah.
I can't watch it all.
I can't afford it all.
I used to look back
we can't pay for that's at least 50.
That's like paying for Sky again. I never paid for it, but like, do you remember like the idea of paying for Sky or like a premium Virgin? It was like you would pay like 50, depending on if you got movies and things, you were paying like 50, 60 pounds a month, depending on what you got. I don't know, like, is that pricing right? I think I never paid for it.
No, Sky was like, at least I remember it being like 80 quid a month if you wanted sport.
Yeah, sport, which is the most essential part. Like that was a lot. And then you go, there's 1,000 channels I don't use. Yeah. So like to go back to that with more stuff than you can watch, like something's got to give.
Yeah. Interesting. Stay tuned. Let's keep watching it.
But, sorry, do you like this idea of more like a la carte entertainment? Like, I don't want Apple. I want my Netflix. And I'm going to have my Netflix, my Sky Sport, and my hockey. And that's me, and that's what I like.
Do you mean, I like I think what you're saying...
Like pick and choose.
I like the empowerment that it's given to us as viewers.
It's true, to be like, I don't want to...
But it's cost us... money-wise, I don't miss the days of what's on TV. What can I watch in between adverts? Oh, what can I record and wind through the adverts later?
Which was like at the time seen as novel.
Also, I like it how the film and TV industry has embraced the music model of being like, we're going to give you actually an entire back catalogue that you can watch it. I like that because then, as a film lover, I know that I can dip in and enjoy that instead of having to chase it down. But. Sorry, what was your question? Do I
this idea of a la carte entertainment? Like you cherry pick your service, and you're not. You don't have to subscribe to them all, but there is this sense like, I haven't watched.
But it's better value, isn't it?
Yeah.
I could, if I didn't want to do it completely a la carte, I could rent these movies and shows bit by bit, right?
True,
I could subscribe to none of them. But let's say I don't know, Euphoria next season comes out, and I think, okay, well, I can't watch that on Sky because I don't have Sky, but I can rent it £3.50 per episode.
It's true. You can't
for Amazon.
You can't like buy an episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier right now, can you? You have to be subscribed to Disney Plus.
No, I think you can.
You could buy an episode.
Yeah. I think after its initial release, I'm pretty sure that Disney Plus then enables you to buy that on other platforms, why wouldn't they? That's another revenue stream.
Would you not think they would just go, you want to watch it, you pay monthly?
Yeah, maybe. Also, this is why Amazon is also going to be fine. They let you have...
they let you buy everything.
They let you buy, which also Apple TV lets you buy, so another good reason why
Yeah.
it's fine. But they also let you have add-on subscriptions. So there are lots of like micro niche indie add-ons like Curzon and Mubi, streaming platforms like that work well because they're allowed to sort of, in a kind of symbiotic relationship, be add-ons for your Amazon Prime subscription.
It is an interesting space that we're in with entertainment. It is ever evolving, but it is like, I feel like it's an erupting volcano.
It's like proper frontierism.
Yeah.
Of this territory. It was carved out by Netflix,
entertainment,
but
your attention.
I can envisage a news piece 5 years time. It's like Netflix, the original streaming one that defined the golden age of TV, has crashed.
Can you imagine all of those IPs being bid for and like divided amongst all the? Yeah, it'd be cool.
But what existing Netflix IP that they've created themselves do people really want to hold on to?
Yeah, that aren't
Netflix was built on other people's IP.
Yeah.
We could go. It's very interesting.
Yeah, we could go on forever, but
let us know your thoughts. Go on, James, do the thing.
If you would like to send us an email on what you think would be interesting, or what you think that streaming service might completely decline, or what your favorite one is right now, or what of all of these announcements you're the most interested in, please send us your thoughts to hello@popkitchenpodcast.com, and we'll maybe read them out on the show. George, how amazing is it on a Tuesday afternoon when we get an email from someone who's listened to the show? How good is it?
Oh, I love it.
It's like the best, right?
I wouldn't even say Tuesday afternoons. I'd say the whole week.
The whole week. But like, nice. I mean, on a random, you're just like going about your day.
And then ping.
Really nice email.
And there's an email from...
They're always great.
I really, really, guys, if you're listening, really love it.
I really appreciate it.
It's a little mini dopamine hit for us. And then I go, oh, that's a good question. I look forward to reading that on the show.
Start thinking about it all week. Can't wait to discuss it with James. As always, if you wanted to send us an email, you can do by writing into hello@popkitchenpodcast.com, just like Charlie did. Charlie says, hi, Jaws. Charlie says, hi, George and James. Just started watching the podcast a couple of weeks ago after discovering you guys
on TikTok.
And I'm loving it. I
definitely
discovered you on TikTok. I definitely need to make my way through your previous videos. My question is, do you think the younger generation, say those in their teenage years and 20s, somewhat neglect classic cinema or films that may be seen as unconventional or irregular to the countless mainstream blockbusters that are frequently released today? Do you think the sheer scale of output and marketing of, say, Marvel movies or flashy blockbusters has ultimately conditioned a generation to dismay more artistic or expressive films that they may consider to be boring or unstimulating? I hate to sound like Martin Scorsese by complaining about superhero films as having a detrimental effect on cinema, but it seems that the general public aren't exploring the world of cinema as much nowadays compared to, say, our parents' generation. Maybe as they're being force-fed the same style of film over and over again. Would love to hear your thoughts. Keep at it. Charlie. Big question.
Absolutely massive question. Let's just break that down a second there, because I do think that question is phrased, with respect to Charlie, in a very broad sense. You're talking about teenagers as one entity.
Yes.
And you're talking about kind of blockbuster films as kind of one entity. I know with Marvel and Star Wars things in there, especially since this week we've been talking about like D23. My initial reaction to that is thinking, don't underestimate the intelligence of an audience actually, and their capacity to still be able to watch content that is not force fed to them, right? Teenagers are not mindless zombies in my perception. They're actually very curious creatures, can be very curious creatures. I mean, they're human beings, but you know what I mean? Like, I remember being a teenager, you're incredibly curious about lots of different things. And I know that if I was a teenager in the current film landscape, I would be both heavily consuming what's fed to me in terms of Marvel and Star Wars, because I like going to the cinema. I like going to the cinema. But I would also be, underneath that, pursuing and exploring my wider interest in film through streaming and things like that to discover old bits of cinema. I think it's always sad when you meet people who love going to the cinema and love watching big blockbuster stuff and don't engage with wider films. And I do think there's a point about the massive space that they occupy kind of pushes those films out, and a shame that also, because of the way these films are made, like Marvel, they almost exist in a vacuum. There's like a timelessness to them that doesn't refer to like cinema history in a way that people just turn up. You know, when I see a film, put it this way, like a Marvel film, like in Black Widow, or he was in quite a few. William Hurt was in quite a few, right? Now, I'm like, that's William Hurt, who's been in loads of other stuff, broadcast news, Body Heat. But to a younger generation, he's just an actor, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that happens with loads of people that turn up, and I find it, that actor again. So, my answer is, I think there's you could generalize and say that risk exists. But personally, I would say have faith in teenage film fans. I think if you're a proper film fan and you are interested in cinema, you are going to be exploring other avenues. And also, you've got to start somewhere. There is nothing wrong with falling in love with cinema through Marvel and Star Wars and all that stuff. You have to start somewhere.
You've got this whole catalogue ready for you.
And as we talked about before, you begin with the Marvel films, and then you look up the directors, and they've done loads of other interesting stuff before, and loads of other interesting stuff since.
Yeah.
See
and the actors
previous
are always doing cool stuff. You can always go, I like that actor. I like Tom Hiddleston. What else has he done?
And even these films sometimes cheekily refer to, like in a pop culture reference.
Alien.
But as long as, I believe that a curious film fan who's a teenager would seek those things out. So that's why I would say, Charlie, I would say have faith.
Yeah, my first instinct is to say no. Like, I think like cinema has famously always like been a generationally popular way to like enjoy media. And I think you could always go look at the younger generation, be like, oh, they don't like what we used to like, and they consume it differently. But I'd be like, I still think good cinema and storytelling is paramount to the way in which like we like to discuss as humans. Like, everyone wants a good story. Everyone wants a good TV show. I do think that, like, just on your point about, Marvel potentially like being this massive black hole that swallows everything up, I almost feel like it's become its own genre. I'm not trying to say it's not cinema, it's a roller coaster. But it's almost become its own fortified bubble that we happen to also experience in the cinema. It's its own amazing thing, for better or worse, it exists, and you can jump in and jump out, and you can be like us, ever so slightly exhausted by the idea of it. But it feels so different to everything else because what it's doing is so different.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's like a good or a bad thing. But my first instinct is no. What I am concerned about, and I'm someone that uses TikTok a lot, but like in the hours that we have to spend on entertainment, I'm worried that a lot of instincts, and this is what I do myself, is to just open and scroll on something that isn't necessarily good, but is something that is engaging.
Oh, yeah.
And I think all the algorithms are valuing what is the most engaging thing we can give you, even if it's not good content. Some of the content is engaging and it's amazing. It makes me laugh and entertains me. I learn something. But some of it, I worry, it's like, we're all just trying to make the most engaging thing possible. We're going to clip this up and put it out because hopefully it's engaging. I worry that is going to suck everyone's attention and no one's going to want to go and watch a 2-hour film.
And because a 2-hour film will be made on the basis of what are the 10 most exciting moments we can clip out and put on TikTok. It used to be what we can put in the trailer.
What's the meme? What can we meme?
Exactly.
Is it going to get you in the first 10 seconds?
I do. It's the most obvious comparison or analogy is like fast food. It's like, instead of it being like what can nourish you and fill you up, it's like what sugar burst can I give you in the initial 5 seconds with which you taste it.
Also, should you never have a cheeseburger again? Cheeseburgers are good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Hope we answered your question, Charlie. This one is from Nick. Nick writes into hello@pulpkitchenpodcast.com and says, hey, Pulp Kitchen.
Hey.
I discovered you on
TikTok.
And it got me onto your podcast, which I'm currently making my way through.
Welcome
and
aboard.
think it's great, so well done. I saw this YouTube video recently, and it got me thinking about great movie dialogue and how difficult it is to write authentic/realistic dialogue that is still interesting. I'm a filmmaker myself and recently made a short film which had limited dialogue. Perfect for me as I'm not a trained writer, but now I'm coming onto my next film and I'm struggling with the writing more than anything else. Anyway, my question to you guys is, what films do you think have the best dialogue? And are there any particular scenes that stand out as having razor-sharp dialogue? Opposing that, what films have terrible dialogue or a line which every time you hear it makes your ears bleed? Well, in my opinion, the Jedi are evil.
Is it raining? I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, the sand, it's dry, of course, and it gets everywhere. You spoke about the opening of Inglourious Basterds being one of the best movie openings, and I think you'll agree it's probably one of the best scenes of dialogue of all time. Love the pod. Keep up the great work, Nick.
Great question, Nick.
Great question. That could be a whole episode. We could do. Should we save it? Nick, I'm so sorry. Let's just say thank you for your email, Will. Nick, you've written a good enough question.
I can tell by the look in James's eye, and he can tell by the look in mine, we could probably do a whole episode on that. So we're going to bank it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
We're going to gestate and we'll come back to you.
I just want to reference, because you referenced Inglourious Basterds, when I was in Vienna, all the food there was like schnitzel and strudel. And I was at this beautiful cafe, which was like, it looked like something straight out of the 1920s. Yeah. Amazing arches. It looked like it was like all golden. And I got served this like beautiful looking like powdered sugar strudel. And I just sent George a picture with it. And then appelez pour la crème, which is just like now like that writing is burned into the back of my mind. And another like great food in film moment. But Nick, like great question. We're going to do a whole episode on it. So sorry we're not going to answer it now. We're going to do some of the best writing in cinema, as if we could try and answer that. As if. Yeah. This one is from Chris Lee. He says, hi there, new fan of your podcast. Welcome. Just watched your review of Bullet Train. I thought the Lost City cameo with Channing Tatum, the book he was reading, and Brad Pitt, Sandra Bullock at the end was definitely an unexpected and funny surprise. It's not really. What's your view on movies using Easter eggs and pop culture references? Do they add more to the story, or are they an easy way to make the audience engaged? So I will shamefully admit that I watched The Lost City on a plane, I want to say like a month before I saw Bullet Train, and that whole thing just completely went over my head.
Well, there's like a crossover.
So Channing Tatum's in The Lost City and Sandra Bullock are in The Lost City, and the voice inside Brad Pitt's head, you know this, like you can hear that Sandra Bullock, and she is like there in the last scene. It's not a cool reveal. She's just.
Can I say? But I think I know exactly what happens in Bullet Train because I've seen the trailer and I've seen the bit where Sandra Bullock talks to Brad Pitt, and I'm like, that looks like it's the final scene of the film.
It's the final scene of the film.
I know, and I was watching. I'm like, well, I think I know how that scene arrives.
But it's not a cool. It's just cool because that's Sandra Bullock.
Okay. Anyway,
it's not a character reason why that's cool.
Okay, so Sandra Bullock.
Anyway, I didn't get this at all. I just thought like, oh, fun. Channing Tatum does lots of cameos. Sandra Bullock's in this. The whole like Lost City thing went over my head. I didn't notice that Channing Tatum was reading. He was reading the book.
What, the book that Bullet Train's based on?
Again,
so we're saying that they're in the same universe. Who cares?
Over my head.
Okay, how do we feel about pop culture references? I think
mixed, I'd say.
I'd say mixed because I feel like they've been exhausted by Marvel now.
And sometimes it can really place your movie in the world that you really didn't want them to be.
Yes.
I wish I could think of an example, but like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you're like, oh, don't mention that.
No, well, like in like Civil War. What movie does he reference when they?
It depends what country you watch it in. You talk about not Civil War.
No, Civil War. You know when Spider-Man's like, oh, did you see that really old movie? And he's like, when they
Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. And I'm like,
but do you know? Sorry, I was thinking about Captain America: The Winter Soldier when Anthony Mackie writes the list, and it's different to wherever.
You know, that's a perfect example. That's good. I like that because that's blink and you'll miss it, and it's different in different countries. So he's woken up, he's out of time, and Falcon says, oh, you should check out this stuff, and he has it to list a long list of like Beatles, Star Wars / Star Trek. That's funny. I like it when there's a very, an Easter egg's cool, like when Nick Fury's, his gravestone in that film, is the quote on Nick Fury's gravestone is the quote from Pulp Fiction.
Yes, that's cool.
That's fine. Yeah. But I think using it in place of humor, just saying like, oh, hey, Squidward, or hey, so-and-so, that isn't a joke. That's just...
Or when Marvel breaks, like when he makes a reference to... Jeff Bridges
in The Big Lebowski.
In The Big Lebowski, and then Jeff Bridges, Tony was like whatever's.
I think it's worn out. Frankly, it's played out.
I've mixed opinions. That was a honk on our end. Apologies. If you're in a car, please don't stop.
Yeah.
This next one is from Alex, who says, evening, gents. Asterisk. Insert obligatory, I found your show on TikTok and now I can't get enough. Making my way through your backlog, etc., etc. Even like writing in, they're like, I know, I'm just one of many.
Is there an echo in here?
I just wanted to say that I've been searching for an interesting podcast for a good few years now and never really found anything I like. That isn't still. I stumbled across the hidden gem that is Pulp Kitchen. Your witty commentary and insights into the world of film and television have done an amazing job of helping me make my drive to and from work a bit more bearable. And I'm now looking for any excuse I can find to jump in the car and throw on an episode. That's so sweet. Thank you, Alex.
Star.
Warm my heart. My question for you both is, as I have just finished listening to the episode you made on Severance, have you both had a chance to give the whole of the season 1 a watch? I'd love to hear thoughts, as I myself absolutely loved it and haven't come across anyone else who can really pick it apart with. Cheers, fellas, and all the best. Alex from Manchester. P.S. Sorry, I know you're about to jump in. It's really refreshing to be able to listen to someone able to have an intellectual discussion about cinema and still be down to earth and likable as you guys. Aww. You really know how to run a cracking podcast, and I can't wait for you to get the recognition you deserve.
Alex, stop it.
I blush.
Oh my goodness.
We blush. Right. Thank you. Now we're done stroking our egos. Severance.
I'm getting through it. Stay
Yes.
with me. We will do a spoiler discussion. It's coming. You know what really piqued my interest? I mean, obviously you sold it to me, but I saw like a promo clip for some sort of film festival somewhere, and they were quick firing, interviewing people on the red carpet what they've been watching. And I'm talking about Stephen Merchant and other actors, but lots of famous people. And I would say about 8 out of 10. I can't believe Stephen Merchant
and other actors. I hope it was like Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, Leonardo DiCaprio, like
all right.
Stephen Merchant.
Anyway, Steve Merchant and all these other actors were like, Severance. They kept saying Severance. I was like, okay, it's clearly very good then. So I am getting through it. Stay with me. And thank you for your
I did finish it. I'm really keen to discuss it too. We will do it. We'll do a sorry, it's been a bit late, but just time, life, work. The last like 2 episodes of Severance, because it's a slow burn, but I was like, oh my God. Like I'm like bouncing and then I'm like, and then the last 2 episodes, I was like, ah!
Okay.
That's my like spoiler-free review of the end of season 1 of Severance. We'll get back to it. That's all we have for this week in terms of emails. If you have sent us an email, it just might be at a weird time. We're going to get to it next week. Yes. So thank you for writing them anyway. I promise we'll try and get to as many as we can. As I've said 1,000 times, if you wanted to write an email into the show, you can do by emailing hello@pulpkitchenpodcast.com.
James, we normally end with the game.
Yeah.
But today, just wanted to change it up a little bit.
Okay.
I want to end with a little bit of film trivia. Okay. Very specific.
Yeah.
But you know the film Heat, right?
Yes.
Great film.
Beautiful film.
If you haven't seen Heat, you really got to, people. If you're sat here and you're thinking, all right,
Very blue film.
What do you mean?
It's really blue.
Oh, well, yeah.
The whole film is blue.
Literally, the poster's very blue.
Yeah.
It's Pacino, De Niro. They sit across from each other. Great.
Yes.
A crime epic in LA. Just fantastic. We said before, like every scene in Heat is razor sharp. I just had a good memory. I put it on during lockdown. I'd seen it before. And as are my parents, but I was watching it with them. And after about 5 minutes, my dad turned to my mum, was like, I think this is one of the best films we've ever seen, isn't it? And it was good. I saw a Pacino interview the other day where he said something really interesting. In Heat, his character portrays a lot of, this is in 95, so Pacino's, I don't know, like 50 here. He, exhibits a lot of traits that become stereotypical Pacino now. The hoo-wah, wow,
What do you got?
yeah, and there's this famous clip where he has these bulging eyes and he's like interviewing this guy and out of nowhere he just goes, she's got a great ass, and it's like, whoa, like Pacino is like on fire here. And he said in this interview, he said, well, people don't realize this, my character was meant to be this very good detective who's burnt out at home, but also loves cocaine.
I was going to say,
right? He loves cocaine. But all the scenes about him taking cocaine were cut. So when you watch the film,
The poor guy.
and he's like, oh, I got you.
That
Come down.
explains so
Explains so much. And he's like, I don't think people know this. I don't think people know that this is out there, that my guy is like that. And actually,
going on.
He's not just turned up to 11 for no reason. There is actually something in there.
What you don't know is that actually every Nicolas Cage film has an entire hour of him doing cocaine that's been cut.
Do you remember that scene? You saw Mandy, didn't you?
No.
Mandy, you didn't see? Oh my
I know.
God.
I need to.
There's a Nick Cage taking cocaine scene in Mandy that is just like, Mandy's one of those films that is so like shocking and in your face
do need to
and,
see
like,
it.
and silly
Yeah.
that it genuinely made me laugh. Like there's an actual murder in it, like a kill that's like so
Yeah.
jokingly done. I was
wow.
like, wow, crazy film. So anyway, that's my little bit of film trivia for you. Stuff that gets cut out and changes your whole perception of it. And poor Al Pacino's thinking, I'm actually
just
quite
like
a chill
everyone thinks
guy.
he's an over-actor. That's really wrong to do that. Yeah, we cut the coke out of your performance. Like,
Oh,
what?
thanks. Anyway, so that was a little bit of trivia.
I really
enjoyed
enjoyed that. We should do more trivia. That was good fun.
Absolutely.
If you had any fun, interesting trivia, please send it through. You know the
Yes.
email address by now. You've heard it.
And we
But
will play games in the future, don't worry.
as always, thank you very much for listening to this episode of Pulp Kitchen. Don't forget that we post new episodes of the show every single Wednesday, unless I'm like not in the UK and I'm really tired. And by the time I like press export and upload, it's like 2 a.m. on a Thursday. For that, I'm very sorry.
And also, before you say anything like, George, why can't you do it? Because it would take just as much time for James to send the file over to me. So, hey, what are you going to do?
Logistics.
But Wednesdays it should be. But also, we have plenty of other content coming out in the week too. For example, James has spoken to me about the Rings of Power.
I've done a whole thing about Rings of Power.
That's going to be coming out this week as well. It's not part of this episode, but it'll be a bit of extra that you can check out on the channel. And also, as ever, check us out on Instagram and TikTok and give us a like, give us a subscribe. Keep sending those emails in. Keep giving us love. we really, really, really appreciate it. It does actually keep us going.
Oh, and I want to do a quick shout out. Right now, we are watching House of the Dragon, and I am watching Rings of Power. If you have any thoughts about it, we are going to do like a season 1 review at some point when we get to it.
Yeah.
Please send us your thoughts of what you think, because I would love to pepper that review with different opinions and just have it be like this big thing where everyone's sort of giving their take. I don't want to sort of do it and then 2 weeks later we get opinions. Start sending them now, and we'll save them and we'll read them out, and I think that would be really good fun. That's what we have to say. Give us a like, subscribe, and just go follow the TikTok.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much.
See you next week.
See you next week.